American R&B singer Nivea Hamilton was born in Atlanta, Georgia, on March 24, 1982, into a musical family. Her parents actually met when her mother auditioned to be a singer in her father's band when they were 16. The youngest of three girls, Nivea began singing as a toddler. Even though she had talent, she was extremely shy and didn't like singing in front of other people. So naturally, she never thought or wanted to sing professionally. The only time she did feel comfortable expressing herself musically was when she'd sit in her grandmother's driveway, belting out Mariah Carey songs. Nivea's grandmother would play a very crucial role in her life, taking her and her siblings into her home in Savannah when her parents' drug addiction spiraled out of control and they ended up homeless. It wasn't until Nivea crossed paths with her first manager, who believed in her talent, that she was also convinced that she could be a successful singer. She then spent the majority of her teenage years going around the Atlanta area and taking advantage of any opportunity to get her voice on a track. Eventually, she accumulated dozens of songs and put them all on a demo. Now, she was ready to head to New York City. Thanks to a fib her manager told the label about her having written the songs on her demo when she hadn't, the 18-year-old was able to land a $1 million deal with Jive Records. Prior to her solo debut, though, she'd be featured on another artist's song that would go to #1 on the Billboard Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart and lay the foundation for her future success. Since Jive was big on their artists doing collabs, when rapper Mystical was working on his next project, the label suggested he pair up with an R&B singer. In December 2000, his single called Danger, Been So Long, featuring his label mate Nivea, dropped. Originally, the track was just supposed to be an album cut, but some DJs got a hold of it and started spinning it like crazy. It caught fire, so the label made it an official single, and Nivea and Mystical put together a music video. Fun fact, R&B singer Khalees was initially tapped to be featured on the song, but for unknown reasons, it didn't happen. Following its success, she released her debut solo single, Don't Mess With the Radio, in 2001. It only garnered moderate success, just barely making it on the Billboard Hot 100 and the R&B Songs chart. When asked how she felt about the type of introduction into the music industry her feature on Mystical's track, as well as her own debut single gave her, she told YouKnowIGotSoul.com in 2014, "I liked it, but at the same time it confused a lot of people. I was in the video, but not in my full media image. When I first came out with Don't Mess With the Radio and the video, people were like, what? That's weird. They didn't even think that was the same girl. It was almost like a misfire with my image, and I was accepted more in a pop community, even though I was a hip-hop R&B artist. When I came out as a solo artist, I was perceived as some other girl. It was almost kind of hard to integrate at first. I didn't know where I belonged yet." Released firstly in Australia in September 2001, her self-titled debut album would later be released in the United States in late 2002. While Runaway was released as her second single in Australia, Don't Mess With My Man, featuring brothers Brian and Brandon Casey of R&B group Jagged Edge, was released as her second single in the US. It was a big hit, peaking at number 8 on the Hot 100 and at number 25 on the R&B Songs chart. The following year, the song was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. She explained to YouKnowIGotSoul.com in 2020 why there are two versions of the song. The version that came out is not a different vocal version, but it's a different musical version. I was 16 when I did the song, and it didn't come out until I was 19. So Brian wanted to redo the music because it sounded a bit dated. I like the original one. A lot of people say that they prefer the original over the remix. Either way, Brian is incredible. The one that was released was a newer version. Then, Nivea's personal life picked up some steam when she started dating rapper Lil Wayne. According to her, he contacted her label after seeing the music video for her song Don't Mess With My Man and showed interest in working with her. She says that he later admitted that was a bold-faced lie. What he really wanted was her phone number. They clicked immediately, and the relationship progressed quickly. So much so that they would become engaged at the end of 2002, after being together less than a year. He proposed at one of her shows in Rhode Island in an elevator.
A little bit ghetto, a little bit hood.
The third single from her debut album, Laundromat, was released in January 2003. It became a minor hit, peaking at number 20 on the R&B Songs chart. If you look closely, she's wearing her engagement ring in the music video. However, by that summer, Wayne would call off their engagement. Following the success of her first album, she soon began working on her second album. Shortly after, she met her future husband, singer, songwriter, and producer, Terrius "The Dream" Nash. Eventually, he took over the primary production on the project and later became Nivea's boo. In late 2004, she released her follow-up album's lead single called "Okay," featuring rapper Lil Jon and hip-hop duo Young Bloods. The song became a hit, peaking at number 14 on the R&B Songs chart and just making it into the top 40 on the Hot 100 at number 40. While Nivea and Wayne didn't make it down the aisle, she did accomplish that goal with The Dream when they married in December 2004. She released her second album, titled Complicated, in the spring of 2005, a week before she gave birth to her daughter. It peaked at number 9 on the top R&B hip-hop albums chart, but underperformed on the Billboard 200 at number 37. A second single, Parking Lot, was released but didn't chart at all. Jive Records ended up dropping promotion for the project altogether under the guise of there being a defect with the CD, resulting in a recall. In reality, though, they never made any effort to push the project from the beginning, and there was a shift occurring. There were other Black female artists coming up behind Nivea who, according to her, were more marketable due to their sex appeal. She says she was actually told by a higher-up that she wasn't dateable and no one wanted to date her. Only he used a spicier word. At this point, Nivea was done with the label, and apparently they were done with her, because when she asked to be let out of her contract, they obliged. A month after her departure from Jive, she gave birth to her twin sons. That same year, she began work on her next album. Primarily produced by The Dream, her third album, Animalistic, was released in the fall of 2006, exclusively in Japan, led by the single, Watch It. Later, she was very forthright about how she felt about her performance on the project and the role her husband played in putting it together when speaking to YouKnowIGotSoul.com. I was a new mom at that point and my body was changing. My voice wasn't the same, so I don't like my vocal performance on that album as much I would have liked in my past and present. However, that album represents a time where The Dream was thriving as a songwriter. If you listen to Animalistic, you can hear everything Rihanna and Beyonce ended up doing. It was The Dream knowing how to tell a story and make it fun. He was coming into his own as a songwriter. I think I performed poorly vocally on that record, but you can't deny that the records were dope. I'm still proud of him because that album was his baby. He did a lot of that himself. Sadly, this project would be the last they'd work on together professionally or personally, as The Dream filed for legal separation in December 2007. Their divorce was finalized the following June. After her split with The Dream, Nivea reconciled with Wayne in early 2008. The following year, it was rumored that they were, once again, engaged and expecting a child together. Nivea gave birth to their son that November. But in June 2010, with Wayne incarcerated on a weapons charge, the pair broke off their engagement for the second time. Fun fact, well, maybe not for the two women involved, but Nivea became pregnant by Wayne at the same time as actress Lauren London. The children are only 2 months apart. Nivea then took a hiatus from the music industry to focus on raising her children. In the fall of 2011, she released an acoustic EP titled Nivea Undercover. Several years after that, Nivea revealed that she would be releasing 2 albums simultaneously through her own record label. One of the projects was originally titled the Randy Watson Collection, which would be an acoustic LP with her father behind the production. The second project was to be an R&B album titled Mirrors. In the time leading up to her dropping the projects, she'd do an interview with radio station WPGC 95.5, where she revealed some scary information about her first pregnancy most people didn't know.
I had a stroke after I had Navy.
Really?
Yes, because I was literally eating salt out of my purse. And I didn't know that about the fluid retention and how if you could swell your brain and actually cause your brain to scrape your skull, which is an actual headache, not what we call headache. That's just tension. So I went through that. Thank God nothing was wrong, no damage or anything like that.
Yes,
but what a scare, right?
Yeah, I'm sitting here staring at you.
But it's like, wow, I survived that. That's amazing with nothing, happening as a effect. So that was scary, but I learned that you can't eat salt. Shaking salt in the palm of your hand. I was so sick that I was tired of being nauseous and throwing up. And salt curbs nausea, so I was literally had a salt shaker in my purse, shaking it in the palm of my hand.
While the Randy Watson collection would end up not coming to fruition, she did release Mirrors in the fall of 2019. It includes a single that dropped the year before called Circles. When asked what happened to the Randy Watson collection, Nivea told YouKnowIGotSoul.com, "Like Beyonce had Sasha Fierce, this was an alter ego for me. My father is a musician, and he can play instruments. I was introduced to every genre of music because of him. A lot of people don't know I am into rock, country, and techno. When I was going through my divorce, I was just inspired to create. My dad played the guitar and I would sing. It was all recorded on my laptop, but it was real and the songs are dope. I still plan on releasing it, but the conflict is whether I should redo it or leave it as raw as possible. You can hear buses driving by in the recordings right now. I actually like to capture the authenticity and I don't want to mess with it, but it's a conflict. I also want to continue with R&B and then slowly introduce the acoustic stuff. I still plan on doing Randy Watson, but you have to pay attention to the times. I did Mirrors and it did well. Not as well as I would have hoped, but it let me know that I need to pursue my other passions, like my entertainment company and other business ventures." In 2021, Nivea appeared on the reality show BET Presents The Encore, alongside former girl group members Shamari DeVoe of Black, 702 sisters Irish and Lamisha Grinstead, Cherished twins Fallon and Felicia King, Pamela Long of Total, Aubrey O'Day of Danity Kane, and Keely Williams of 3LW and the Cheetah Girls. The show chronicled the journey of the women as they formed a supergroup to create an album within 30 days. Around the same time, Nivea also did a jaw-dropping interview with multi-hyphenate businesswoman Candy Burris on Candy's official YouTube channel. Even though during the hour-long sit-down, Nivea commented that she'd only just scratched the surface of what she's been through in her life, what she did talk about was quite heartbreaking. She recalled some harrowing experiences with her first manager, who was at least 25 years older than her and who she had a sexual relationship with for several years. He also physically abused her and stole money from her. She then told the story of how Wayne encouraged her to dump her manager and subsequently quit the music industry altogether. She claims he promised to take care of her financially and urged her to move out of the house they shared and get an apartment instead. Later, she discovered that he insisted they get the apartment so he could move another woman into the house, namely his now ex-wife, Toya Johnson, who's also the mother of his adult daughter. Nivea also revealed that during their first go-around, she did become pregnant, but miscarried. She also went into more detail about the period of her life beginning after the birth of her last child when she disappeared from the music scene. While she was focused mainly on raising her children, she still longed to continue to pursue her artistic goals. Since that wasn't happening, she fell into a depression and developed a full-blown addiction to cocaine. Thankfully, she overcame her demons and is now drug-free. In 2022, Nivea released the single Virginia, her first new release in 2 years. The following year, she appeared on the first season of the Peacock dating reality series Queen's Court, alongside television personality Evelyn Lozada and singer, songwriter, actress, and television personality Tamar Braxton. The trio explored connections with dozens of men to figure out who was worthy of being their king. While both Tamar and Evelyn got engaged on the series finale, Nivea tearfully dumped both of her finalists, but only after learning to prioritize herself when navigating romantic partnerships. The show helped me get to a place where I realized that I was okay with being alone, and it really launched me into my self-love journey, which I'm so grateful for. As great as all the guys were, especially Mac and Ty, there is still so much more work to do, and I want to really fall in love with myself again before I open up my world to another man. On March 24th of that year, she dropped a new single called Killa as a treat for her fans as a celebration of her birthday. In 2024, Nivea participated in another Peacock original, Eat, Slay, Love. The show follows her, actress, fashion model, and television personality Eva Marcille, television personality, singer, fashion designer, and businesswoman Tammy Rivera, and British comedian, television writer, and presenter London Hughes on a girls' trip to Vietnam to experience the culture and learn about themselves. Currently, Nivea is gearing up to participate in the Millennium Tour 2025 with co-headliners Omarion, Bow Wow, and Trey Songz. Other confirmed acts include Plies, Boosie, and Yin Yang Twins. Supergroup RSVP, featuring Ray J, Sammy, Bobby V, and Pleasure P, will also perform, along with special guest Rick Ross. The tour is scheduled to kick off March 7th in Louisville, Kentucky.